Hello everyone and welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, where today we have a special treat, Tyranny, an old style CRPG like Baldur's Gate and those games I'm really looking forward to, where the bad guys won.
400 years.
Let's check out the cutscene and get into character creation.
Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
So there we go, there's the opening cutscene, and like I said, this is a game where the bad guys have won, and you play as part of the evil empire, if you will, and we are a Fatebinder, and when laws are passed by the main guy, basically, if we pass them along, they have a magical power attached to them, and, well, they happen. Like, it's not like you're punished for breaking them, like, it magically, automatically happens, and you are maybe killed or whatever. So I think we're going to play as a female character. I don't know why necessarily in here. There's a lot of, in these games, if you haven't played Baldur's Gate or similar games of that style, the old D&D, Black Isle sort of games from the 90s, there's a lot of text, there's some voice as well. They're very story-heavy games, but for right now, I think this is okay for now, and we will move on and then vary a lot of other stuff. So this is kind of nice. We have our portrait here. There are a lot of different ones to choose from. And this is going to represent our character, so maybe we want to pick that before we make our character, maybe we want to make our character and then look at that, I'm not quite sure. And this will be really interesting. I really, for this playthrough, think I'm going to try to roleplay the character more than I would in maybe some other games. Actually, I kind of like this one here. Yeah, I kind of like that. I was kind of, and I also don't tend to play a lot of pure magic user style characters, so I'm thinking about giving that a try for this game. So we're not necessarily going to match everything exactly. We're going to go with what we like, and you know, we might change the portrait around, but let's go with this for now. I don't know. We'll go with that, and then this is, you know, again, in a lot of these games have these different voices that we can try out, and so you can hear, you know, different sort of. Not sure why that seems so quiet, but I actually kind of like the female noble voice. Yeah, we'll go with that. So here, oh, interesting. So we get to choose, okay, we get to rotate too. So we can play around with this stuff a lot. Kind of tribal, kind of, I don't know what to call it. Oh, is there more too? Oh, I kind of like that one though. That's kind of cool. I might go with that one. Let's see here. Not a big fan of the face tattoo. So I'm not going to spend a ridiculous amount of time on this. I definitely could. And I say I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it and then watch that that's exactly what we'll do. But let's look real quick here and see what we have. So that one's kind of understated. Kind of like that one. I don't know if it really strikes me as evil. That one's kind of subtle. Serpent. Kind of cool. Oh, there we go, Serpent. And let's see here. Yeah, I don't like that on the face. So how about we go with... Oh, it didn't change over. Yeah, it's kind of subtle on the hand. I like that because, like I said, I'm planning on being a caster. So let's see here. I'm thinking about maybe being like a frost caster or something. So let's go with something... Yeah, something like that. I kind of like that. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead... and I think, let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. We can change around the hairstyle, because for this character, again, I'm not necessarily going to try to match the portrait exactly, just go something I like. I kind of like that. Kind of works with the portrait. Alright, that'll do. And let's see here. Face. I actually don't mind the one we have. We'll play around a little bit here. Let's go... That one looks stern. I don't know. I think we'll go with that one. We'll see. So, I'm a little bit more interested in getting into the stats and all that, which we will do. So, I am alright with where we're at so far. Okay. Let's move on. So, how did we get into Kairos' army? So, my plan for playing this character, when I was thinking about what I wanted to play, I kind of want to play a Darth Revan character. One of my favorite games of all time is Knights of the Old Republic, and I really like that character and that idea of, there was Revan and Malak in that game, and Malak kind of was the one that eventually went nuts, but it seemed like Revan kind of, had a sense of practicality. He wasn't necessarily pure evil. So I don't know about Lawbreaker, Hunter, Guild Apprentice. Let's see what this says. You're proud of your intelligence. Okay, I like this so far. Your parents always knew you're too smart in life. So no toil, looking to secure a better future. Struck a bargain. So you go into magical order, basically. I kind of like that. Yeah, so War Mage, Diplomat might not be bad. Let's see here. Farflung City in trouble, you're taking adjudicator to stand trial. Not only did you plead your innocence, but you turn the accusations around. That could be Noble Scion. What's that? Born to noble parents, you were groomed for leadership. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I kind of like the Diplomat one. I wasn't necessarily highborn, but I've used what I've learned to be able to, get ahead in life. And I do like that there's all these tooltips here. If you're really interested in the lore, you can definitely do that. Now, here's what I wanted to take a look at. Like I said, I'm thinking about maybe playing a pure magic user, which is something I usually don't do in role-playing games. So we have the different weapons here. We can even do unarmed attacks. And let's see here. There's Vigor. So... Okay, so that, I guess, kind of helps people, maybe. Shock spells, so Charge Fist. Atrophy sounds kind of interesting. Okay. So kind of, what you'd expect Atrophy to do. But I kind of wanted to play a Frost Mage type of character. I don't know if that necessarily suits Revan. Maybe Shock Spells would more suit it. But again, we're not necessarily trying to go completely with that. So, I kind of like if you click on something, even like, we've got like the Lightning here, or kind of the Life, or the, the Purple Atrophy, or kind of the snowing almost with that. So we can check out Frost Grasp. We've done Frozen for a time. Yeah, I kind of like maybe a little bit of crowd control with that as well. Yeah, so Frozen Grasp, there we go. So this is the spell we learned for doing that. And then this is kind of interesting. Now we choose a secondary thing. So we could choose another spell, or if we go to Frost again, we can totally specialize in that, which is kind of interesting. So let's check these out. Charge Strike. Charge your Magic Staff and release a powerful burst of energy that explodes in a small area around a target. Ooh, I like that. Or Energy Shield. Shoot energy around yourself or a party member, granting additional armor. So that would be good because as a mage, we're probably going to be in the line of... We don't want to be in the line of fire. So having more armor would be nice. Although I do like the idea of doing a little bit of AoE damage and just being more of an attack-oriented character, so that's what we're going to go with, attack. Alright, so let's see here. Now we can kind of choose our crest. So lots of different options here. Wow, lots of different options. Okay, I like that. So is anything popping out at me? I kind of like that one. Ooh, I kind of like this one too. Right next to each other. So there's definitely some cool ones. Well, so many options. Let's go. I do like this one. I don't know why I like that one, but I do kind of like it. So let's go maybe sort of an imperial red background, even though we're not actually, playing. Ooh, actually, let's do purple. Maybe darker, and then red, or more of a deeper red. That's maybe a little bit too dark. Yeah, those don't necessarily go well together. I like orange. Yeah, actually, I don't know. That might be a terrible color combination, but I kind of like it. So, and let's do something similar with ourselves here. So, I do kind of like the green as well. Yeah, we'll match our banner. So let's see. Do I like that, or do I like the green better? Let's try the green on the banner as well. Definitely like the orange on the banner better. We could go with green for ourselves, though, if we want. Nah, we got a match. Got a match. Okay, there we go. So there we have that set up. And then let's see here. Enter name. So we are going to play as Revan, just as a reminder or whatever. Why not? And also, I am terrible at coming up with interesting names. So it's showing us here with these sort of spells. This is the sort of stats that we want to put points into. So let's see here. Wits. What does that do exactly? To increase the strength of spell as well as increase magical defense. Okay, that sounds reasonable. What does resolve do? Primary attribute when used to derive endurance, will, and magic defenses. Also increases durations applied by the character. Okay, so all of that is good, but what does everything else do? Every game has stats like these, but they're a little bit different. More powerful attacks as well as so let's see here. So we're not necessarily interested in might all that much. Now, can I lower stats? Yes, I can lower it down to an 8. Okay. And I think might is definitely going to be our dump stat. Finesse is used to determine accuracy of attacks and spells. Okay, so we'll keep that there. Quickness determines how often the character can use their ability spells in combat. Okay, so we want summon quickness, and vitality. Because I didn't go with that armor spell, I'm not necessarily going to dump vitality, so I don't know if I'm going to lower anything else below 10. In fact, as much as I want quickness and resolve to go up, I may even, wits and resolve, I may bring quickness up as well. So let's see here. Duration will be nice for freeze and stuff like that. So let's get these up at least a couple. Let's get a couple into quickness as well. And let's see here. I really like... I want to be able to cast my spells a lot and make them powerful. So while all of these, these are the ones that are highlighted, I think quickness will be important as well. So we have 1 point left. Let's see here. What does... finesse does again... Yeah, because I thought it was important for some reason. Accuracy of attacks and spells. Okay, so that could be important. So we could dump a point into finesse. Yeah, we should probably do that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, because we want our spells to hit as well. Yeah, we'll go with this for now, and this is our first playthrough, so it may not go that well. And like I said, this is where I don't necessarily want to spend a bunch of time. So here we have a high boost to control frost because we picked it twice, I'm assuming. This would probably be lower if we picked two different stats. And I like this game shows, right off the bat how everything is affected, how things are multiplied, whatnot. So does Magic Staff actually improve our spells, or just... higher value leads to more accurate attacks, critical strikes. Let's see here, but does it actually improve the spells themselves? Okay, yeah. So it's not just like when we're attacking with that. And then these, yeah, we can't lower these at all. So I'm not really worried about any of this stuff. Dodge is not necessarily bad. Let's see here. What does Lord do, though? That's kind of important. I believe it is. So, let's see here. This critical who wants to learn new runes. Okay, so an interesting thing about this game is they have spell creation, that you can get these runes and do kind of cool stuff. So I definitely think we're going to pump some points into that. We'll go maybe even with 42, because that is the answer. And let's see here. We're going to want to pump this up. We could just do like 42 for everything. Magic Staff we probably want up quite a bit. So I want to check real quick though. What do these do? Let's see. I'm not really interested in stealth. So Subterfuge looks like... Yeah, that is athletics. Oh, so these are kind of difficult terrain. So yes, there are going to be obstacles and things in the game that we have to get through. So doing these may help us, but I'm not super interested in it. I don't know if Subterfuge is also going to help us in dialogues or thing like that. Does it actually say? Also using dialogue to determine your ability to deceive or trick a person you are speaking to. So I might put a couple points into Subterfuge, but let's see what we have. Now, Dodge... Defend against range attacks, javelin, or magical spells. So, yeah... I think let's get that at least up to 30, I think, because I do like that it can also reduce damage from spells and things like that. So we probably want the Magic Staff a little bit higher, because that's only 30. So when it's saying magical attacks, I'm still wondering if it's just referring to like the base attack with the wand or not. Both magical staff. Skill used to equip the staff. So I'm not going to pump that too high right now. I think I'm going to focus on just doing crazy spell stuff and seeing how that goes. So we have those really high. And this is interesting. I want to raise this up because I want to be good in dialogues, but I'm not really interested in the stealth aspect of it, so it might be better to put it into some other stats. So we could have some 42s and some 32s. What do we say about that? That sounds good. Again, this may not be super efficient, but I do want to get through it so that we're not on these menus forever. Okay, so go to next. Let's see here. Now, this is an interesting thing. So we're probably going to try to fit this in. This is kind of lengthy. So if you want to, I don't know if I'm going to make this a separate video or just include this in the first one, but if you want to skip this part, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I think it'll be interesting. Basically, this is going to give our character backstory. We can just have the default things for like Diplomat and what we chose if we do Quick Start. Or we can do Conquest, where we're basically going to be given choices and explain what happened in the backstory. I do suggest checking it out, though, if you are interested in the story of the game, because I do think this is kind of an interesting aspect.
To Kairos. And now the Overlord's eye is on the Tears, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior.
Okay, so we're getting...
In the early days of 428...
Well, we're definitely joining the Disfavored. We're not a crazy, just barbarian.
The mountainous border that we Tearsmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tears sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors. Until it's too late.
Okay, so it looks like we're kind of going after the last bastion that's holding out against us. And I'm assuming we're going to make some choices along the way. Yeah. So you decide your character's actions during the invasion of the Tears. Okay. Shaping the world. So each choice you make will affect your character and major factions how they respond to you. Decisions matter. Choose wisely. And I have heard this is a game that your decisions actually matter more than in a lot of games where they say your decisions matter. This game did just launch today. But from what I've seen at the preview builds and what people have said so far, it does seem like there's a lot of stuff going on. So the Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tears, built upon a natural harbor. The crossroads between the realms. The city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tears, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was just a little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' army. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the Tears. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Okay. So, select a token on the map to begin. Oh, so we choose where we start. Interesting. In the first major engagement of the war, Kyros's army crossed the mountains and established a foothold. Both armies set their forces on the way to prepare. So I guess I'm saying whether or not we spend some time in preparation or just attacking the city. So playing the character I think I'm going to play, we're probably going to spend some time in preparation. So infiltrate the tiers. History Remember gets judgment as the first battle of conquest with the real combat unfolded with advanced units, both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus, who we've learned about a little bit, and again I like this kind of tooltip thing if we want to check it out, each had a plan to infiltrate the city. Which army did you join? We joined the Disfavors. You lent your skills to the Disfavored scouts, captured aboard a garrison. Graven Ash insisted that an early victory in the offense would boost the morale of his troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. Okay, I agree. Because, I'm definitely playing more of a disfavored type character. So we infiltrate the tiers. The Oath-bound scouts identified a modest border defense, collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut them off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinions on the strategy when the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of disfavored scouts. You were the least surprised. All right. Interesting. I like how this is interacting with the map. So we get another choice. Inside Agent. You found an ally within the city to prepare the way for the upcoming approach, or containing the fire. The bastard city. The fire major is threatened to the last. Okay, so basically, do we burn the city or infiltrate the city? I have a feeling with this, I'm gonna play a character that's gonna want to more infiltrate the city. While the border garrison, with the border garrison captured by your disfavored allies, you traveled ahead of Kairos armies and lurked in the shadows of the bastard city. You decided that converting one of the locals to Kairos' side would help bring the city to its knees. After all, corruption starts from within. So, a well-informed guard captain or a fast-talking smuggler? I kind of like the idea of going with a smuggler. I don't know why, but that's what we're going to go with. You came to an arrangement with a well-connected smuggler who knew how to sneak agents of the Scarlet Chorus behind the city walls. The Scarlet Chorus were better equipped than the other soldiers. Oh, or we can go with this favored. Okay, again, we're getting a choice. I thought those symbols were the same. So, let's see here. What is this? Better captain the guard to sell military secrets to this favored. Better than Kairos much. Okay, yeah, I like this. We'll go with that. So we're probably going heavily disfavored with that. There's a lot of different ways you can play the game, from what I've heard so far. So that's an interesting noise. Whispers in the dark. The captain of the guard was of a mind that the bastard city was corrupt and deserving of better leadership. You did nothing to convince him otherwise. After taking your promises of stature and security to heart, he offered you a list of valuable assets from weekend stores in the Rampart to the State of the Siege provisions, capping off with a list of city officials whose loyalties could likewise be turned to support your cause. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm enjoying this so far. I mean, it's a lot of reading, but I kind of like how the map and the things are falling down. It's pretty interesting. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the bastard city ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city's defenses for the arrival of Kairos' forces, but you wanted a decisive gesture that would give your allies a meaningful advantage. How did you assist in the fall of the bastard city? Duel the city marshal. You challenge the commander of the bastard city's defenses to an honorable fight to the death. The disfavored wish to spare soldiers' lives for the battle ahead and civilian lives for occupation. Spreading the word of Kairos, you converted the poor and disaffected into a hidden army of a secret course. Once the dust settled, the army wished to bolster the troops with these sleeper cells, or, keeping in the shadows, you eliminated the leaders of the bastard city one by one. So that is interesting. You can kind of go it alone, and if we look here, we actually get a different ability based on what we choose. So Warrior's Respite. Stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time, you regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. Interesting. So minus 50% damage, but 11% health regeneration. Okay, interesting. So what does this do? Searing Palm. Gather heated energy in your hands and release them from the foe. Target ignites in flames, burning over time. Huh. So I wonder what sort of magic that is, or if it's just an ability, is a good question. What does this do? Concealing shadows once per encounter. So it's a kind of create a cloud of for short duration enemies that use physical attacks against you have significantly increased chance to miss during this time. Your attacks will also be less effective. So, interesting. So this would give me some more tankability, basically, survivability. I really like this. This seems to suit with what my character wants to do with attack, but this is what I go. What the faction I kind of am enjoying going with. I think this is maybe what my character would do. And let's see here. It's maybe after I cast my spells. This is kind of interesting. I cast my spells, then I heal up a little bit while I'm doing less damage until I can cast my spells again. It's once per encounter. That could be... Or do I just want to burn people? I did say I want to roleplay this, but this ability sounds the coolest. So... Let's see here. But I think I'm going to have a lot of spells eventually. So, you know what? We're going to go with this. We're going to roleplay it. Okay, so the city marshal was an old but experienced fighter, and his value to the guard was accepted truth. After making guarantees for your protection, you met him in the square of the market district and fought in view of tense onlookers. The battle drew on longer than you thought possible. Good fortune struck you when an ornamental chain hanging from the marshal's armor snagged on the quillion of his sword, granting you the opportunity to end his life swiftly. Kairos forces celebrated your return to the camp, and the dissolution of enemy morale. All agreed that the bastard city was poised to crumble. Nice. I like that. I like that animation and sound. All right. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. Okay, more choices. The Bastard City settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered, alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the forces on the frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lithian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. So, what do we want to do? If we do Apex, troops in Mountain Realm, by their time as the Bastard fell, in the second year of the war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the Tyr Central Valley, or deposits of iron made the settlement of Lithian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kairos forge bound blacksmiths exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Fate binders to ensure the enforcement of Kairos' law. I'm not really sure here. Judge and overseer, or as a war advisor. I kind of like the judge and overseer thing. Yeah, we'll go Lithian's Crossing. Confirm. Nice. Okay, so now we're going in here. And we're, so yeah, this is telling kind of, I guess, the whole backstory of the war and everything that we have going on. And like the game said, this will affect how people interact with us later. So, years ago, Lithian the Bold founded a small merchant town in the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant that the caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Lithian's Crossing drew Kairos' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kairos' control, the northern smith mages would set up workshops to refine ore, and armed the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archons of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tunon dispatch you to travel alongside Kairos' forces and bring order to the region. Alright, so let's see here. The iron must flow. You found a clever solution to improve production of the iron weapons and armor, or the Cult of Siren. The Archon of Song's power ensnared the mind of a disfavored soldier. So, I think I'm going to do the first one. I just want to take a look at this one. Interesting. So, use charm. Into the locals' army. Nah, let's see what this is. Yeah, I like this choice better anyways. So, Kairos Smith mages worked day and night to create weapons. No one faltered in dedication, yet production was low. The plans that came to light proved divisive to the disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for the fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kairos' army needed to be fiercely guarded. So, we could conscript the local tribe of beastmen for their strength, or Scarlet Coast took refugees from the recent influx and forced them to serve in Kairos military. You repurpose these individuals to haul wagons of iron and smith mages. This proved inconvenience to the Scarlet Chorus, who relied on their force of numbers. Okay, so we could use a lot of people. Disfavored protested they did not have access to the secrets of iron, but their voices were... So, I think, again, we're going to continue to support the disfavored here, I think. Draw from the Scarlet Chorus recruits. Yeah. So, I don't care how much we piss them off. We don't really respect... Oh, maybe we understand that they are a valuable weapon, but... I think I'm definitely going to try to play one side of this and see how it goes. So the population of Luthian's Crossing had swelled from the emptying of the lands destroyed by Kairos' armies. Although Scarlet Chorus fought to keep the refugees under their control, the need for production could not wait. The new recruits were resigned to haul ore from treacherous mine shafts, labor more befitting slaves than Kairos' artisans. Though the disfavored grew stronger with the advantage of more weapons, the Scarlet Chorus diminished as their ranks found themselves with one less opportunity for growth. Alright, so more Monopoly pieces to play with. A Guardian's Due. Tensions rose as disfavored and Scarlet Chorus soldiers rubbed elbows with mercenaries hired to guard their forges, or Pick of the Armory. As the forges improved production, both armies demanded preferential treatment. Well, let's see what this says. Kairos' army used Luthian Crossing as a reprieve from the war. The city grew more crowded as mercenaries and armies hired by the Archon secrets occupied the barracks, where they drained resources and established tensions. The disfavored wanted nothing to do with the sellswords, but the Scarlet Chorus sought to invite them into the fold. So, let's see here. Interesting. Or... Situated in the production of weapons, comrades of both armies lobbied for additional arms. They offered all manners of bribes to be next in line. Session with the forge. How did you sate the lust for iron? So, you allowed no changes in your disposition of iron and punished those who tried to bribe you twice. I'd like this. So even though I'm part of the disfavored, I'm not, like, I understand the value of the other army. So I'm just going to be like, this is how it works, bro. So, yeah, we'll... Although, again, I don't necessarily want to play a neutral character, but I am going to try to roleplay that decision. So, using language that left nothing open to interpretation, you let both of the commanders know that bribery would not be tolerated in Kairos' military. That didn't stop either of them from seeking you out again, making promises of wealth and achievement if you showed special favor. Deciding that enough was enough, you ordered both commanders flogged in view of their armies, letting pain and humiliation teach them where reason had failed. Okay, yeah, I like that choice. I don't necessarily want to play as a lone wolf, but I do like that choice. You controlled the crossing. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nerat injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kairos, more responsible servants. Only a token garrison would be left behind while the armies returned to the front. As the disfavored Scarlet Corps showed increasing tension and hostility towards the other, Tunon decreed it best that one force control the crossing. Okay, so if we do this, you granted the control of Living's Crossing to the disfavored, you granted control of Living's Crossing to the Scarlet Chorus. Well, the thing is, we want this place to function well and not have issues, so I actually do think that the disfavored would handle it better, while these guys might just cause issues. So, the disfavored placed a modest garrison in the settlement of Living's Crossing. Though the force was larger, it might need be to police a small settlement. Protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defense force, as these magical craftsmen kept the disfavored invasion force suited in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of Lething's Crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. Yeah, like I figured, the city would probably run better with these guys. You receive word from Graven Ash thanking you for your decision. The Forgebound and their weaponry could not be entrusted to the voices of Nerat. Alright, so we're making choices and doing things. And, okay, where to next? You may only choose one of these locations. The mercenaries expelled and Lithian's Crossing under new leadership, Kairos' forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlements and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of this diversion, the army front advanced further into the tiers. Your skills were needed in the realm of Azure, Stalwart, or the Vellum Citadel. So what is the Vellum Citadel? A library fortress. Okay, so let's see here. What do these say? So the Vellum Citadel fell upon the Vellum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. Let's see here. Dispatch Arcanstone to subjugate the nation of Azure, or with this easily defended, rich military tradition, the realm of the Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. I think we want secret knowledge, so that's where we're going to go. So, yeah, as much as going after the most strongly defended thing might make sense, I do like the idea. I think my character would be interested in learning all the secrets. So let's see what happens. The Elm Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountain refuge on lands unsettled by other major realms. Yeah, I think this is where my character would go. Legends say that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the Great Fortress Library and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. Okay, so how do we force them to yield? Chain of Command, a peaceful surrender, turn bloody, or Song of Ensnarement. Siren Song ensnared some stealthy sages. Siren, an Archon song, used her power to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the citadel walls. After Kairos forces round up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge. A crime under Kairos' law with the Scarlet Chorus. Okay, so what do we want to do? We could punish the disfavored for executing the mages of the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given to the Archon of Song as her personal bodyguards. Or you calm the disfavored with a compromise. The sages' mouths would be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we punished the disfavored. So, yeah, they did a dumb thing, and let's see here. What did the disfavored? Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. Why not? Wisdom of the sages and knowledge of the Vellum Citadel were too important to silence. The disfavored balked at entering the Archon service, but your ruling left them with no recourse. Archon Syrian, delighted in having new toys to play with, and promptly enthralled her personal guard. You spotted them in camp days later, following their new mistress with wide-eyed devotion. Okay, so what next? Siren composed songs of strength and provoked the Provoked body slaughter. Okay. Suspicions arose when sages surrendered. So what does this say? The Arcana Song incited Scarlet Course recruits to fight their leaders. Bosses were killed and supplemented left and right. The disfavored demanded end of the practice for the good of the conquest. So, could put an end to it, or honored a right of challenge. Or a group of enemy mages surrendered to disfavored, claiming to be spies loyal to the voices of Nerat. No one in the army could verify the claim. The disfavored readied to interrogate the mages, but the Scarlet Course protested, demanding that the prisoners be given to their custody. They couldn't risk the voices of Nerat's secrets falling into the wrong hands. Actually, I want to read what this does. You ruled that each Archon had the right to govern their armies according to their nature. The right of command bred chaos, but it also ensured that the strongest had the right to lead, or you agreed with the disfavored argument. The right of command had its place, but not when Kairos' forces were outnumbered and reinforcements were weeks behind, if not longer. I'm not really sure what I meant to hit cancel, but that's what we picked. That's alright. I didn't mind that choice, though. So, the Scarlet Course, even the gang bosses, argued in favor of the new ritual contest killing. In the end, they agreed to suspend the practice for the remainder of the Vellum Citadel campaign, lacking an outlet to settle scores or deal with pent-up hostility. Tensions flared between the commanders and recruits, who were forced to act against their better nature and communicate. Alright, Edict of Fire. Food morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire on the enemy. So this is when we talked about the edicts before. Basically, it's a command that just happens. So and this looks like it would just destroy the whole thing. So the parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron, written on it the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning to the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. We're going to give a day's warning, because we want this knowledge. Claiming they had spies in the Citadel, the Scarlet Course urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under blue piece of flag of peace, same difference, and warned them of their doom, giving the Course spies and the enemy a chance to run. You know, I'm going to go with it. Okay. You confronted the mages with warning and hoped the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the Citadel. As the sun dipped under the horizon, you read the words of the edict. The earth shook and the red-orange light glowed in the foundation of this sprawling city. Bubbling up from their library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force. Wow. Gushing, the floor was lava, gushing from windows and between loose bricks, melting and winding trenches throughout the surrounding land. Days later, the flames still rage on, and the conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. So, bye-bye. So that place is now, alright, just gone. Edict of Fire. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. Resistance is futile. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You'd lost the part from the mountains, and you journeyed off. You spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks dwarfed by the inferno, the last gasp of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. So I believe that is the last thing that happens, that we now jump into the game. Let's see here. Conquest complete. So, do you want to continue or erase your progress and start over? That was a lot of reading. Let's continue. And I believe we're now actually getting into the gameplay. So, let's see here. Lore skills can be used to impress characters and conversations. Okay, so that's nice that lore is also used in conversations. I think I missed that originally.
431. Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition.
Okay, so this we've already seen before, so I don't need to look at this again.
But our will is not yet extinguished.
There we go. There's some new information.
In the valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault.
Okay, so we're dealing with some rebels.
With their main forces spread across the tiers, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers.
Okay, so the rebels are trying to spread their rebellion to other places.
And Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons.
Okay, so this is what we talked about before. This edict is binding. If they don't do as told, they'll just die.
Passes into the valley. The ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you.
Alright.
You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
So we have to kill all the rebel scum. Okay, fair enough. Ooh. And we are actually getting to the game. Alright, so I do think that we're going to stop here. And that we've got the character creation and all of that done. And starting in the next video, we will jump into the actual gameplay and see what's going on. Thanks a lot for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.